Hello, everyone. Today we are going to be going over two primary things. First being, what is a ratio? And second, how do we read word problems with ratios? And how to find the important information so that we know we're solving the problem correctly. Okay. So, first, let's kind of review what a ratio is. I know it's something we've learned before, but let's kind of refresh and jog our memories on what it is. So, a ratio is the representation of how many one item is in relation to either one or more other items. So I'll give kind of a couple examples of those. Let's say, for example, we have a problem where the ratio says that we have 6 squares and 5 circles, right? There are three different ways that we can write this out. We can say that we have 6 to 5, right? And we use the semicolon. Actually, I will circle that to make it a little bit bigger. Or we can say that we have 6 to 5, right? And we use the word, or we can write it as a fraction. And remember, when we're writing this as a fraction, the first number always has to be the top number in the fraction. So for this example, we said 6 squares to 5 circles, right? We need to have 6 on top, and then the next number will be 5. Okay? So I give you guys some time to look that over, maybe write these notes down, or kind of refresh yourself on how we do this, okay? Okay, so now that we kind of remember what a ratio is, let's look into ratio word problems and how we solve them. I know that word problems can be very difficult and kind of hard to understand, but there are some key things in trying to find what a word problem is asking, and it makes it much, much easier to be able to solve it. Okay, so I'm going to start with a very simple example, and then I'll give two more intricate examples that kind of make us think a little bit more, but help us pull that important information out. Okay, so the first problem is going to be we have two basketballs and five footballs, right? Okay, how do we write this out as a ratio? The first thing that we have to do is kind of pool what numbers we have, right? We can either just write the numbers to the side or maybe we can use a visual. For this example, we're going to do a little bit of both, okay? So we know we have two basketballs, and that's our first number, right? So we can write 2 in front, we can write 2 here, or like we said earlier, 2 is going to be on top of your fraction, right? So you can have a 2 here, okay? So we know how many basketballs we have. Now we get to our next part, right? We have 5 footballs, okay? So what is our ratio from basketballs to footballs? Well, we have 2 basketballs as we wrote in these spots, and the next open spot needs to be how many footballs we have. So we know that we have 5 footballs, okay? So we take 5, we put it here, and now we can look at what we've written, and it shows us that we know we have 2 basketballs to 5 ratios. A ratio of basketballs to footballs is 2 to 5. Okay? Now for a problem that is a little bit more complicated. Okay? I'm actually going to write it out on the board so it's easier for you to look back at all this stuff. Okay? Okay. Looks like a big, long, complicated problem, right? Let's read it out let's break it down. Let's see what the problem is asking us, okay? So it says a math club has 25 members. There are 11 boys and the rest are girls. What is our ratio of boys to total members? So, first things first, let's underline what we need in the problem, right? Let's see what it's asking for. And we'll underline in order of how we're going to write our ratio. So, the first part says, what is our ratio of boys to total members? Boys being the first part of your ratio you're going to write. So, you're going to put one underline under boys, and you're going to go up here, and you're going to underline 11, because that told us how many boys we have, right? The next part, it says to total members, right? Total members, we're going to use 2 underlines because we want to remember that that's the second part of our ratio, okay? So we're going to underline total members twice. We're going to go back up to our problem. Let's look for that number and tells us how many we have. Total members we have, if we remember, it says 25, okay? So we have the important information written out, right? It tells us the rest are girls, but that's not important for this problem and what it's asking. Okay, so let's write down our ratio and see what our numbers are giving us. The first part is boys. As we know, we underline with 1. So we're going to write 11 for our first part of our ratio, right? Because it's asking boys to total members. Okay, next, it's going to show us how many total members there are in the club, okay? For that, we're going to go to the 2 underlined number, which was 25, and that's going to be our second part, right? 25, okay? And remember, there's always 3 different ways you can write a ratio. You can either do the semicolon, you can use the word form, or you can do 11 over 25 as a fraction, okay? Any of those 3 examples that you guys give me, any of those 3 answers, totally fine. You guys know I'm okay accepting the ratio any way you show me, as long as you have the correct answer, okay? I'll give you guys about a minute to go ahead and look this over. If you want to pause the video and go ahead and write this information down, maybe jot down a question if you have one so you can come in and ask me. I'll give you guys that time now, okay? Okay, now I'm going to erase this. Hopefully you guys got either a good question or got some good notes down or something, okay? Our next question, a little bit more complicated, but still some of those same things where we can pull the important information out, okay? So this next question says, a group of preschoolers has 8 boys and 24 girls, okay? What is the ratio of girls to all children? Okay, now we do have 2 sets of numbers in this problem, but we're actually not going to underline both of them the same, okay? And I'm going to explain why. The problem is asking us, what is the ratio of girls to all children, right? So that first part we can underline with 1 number, right? We'll underline girls, we underline 24. We know that's the first part that we're looking for, okay? So we have 24. And we'll go ahead and write it in our 3 different formats just for that memory so we know what to do, okay? So we have 24, right? Next, it's asking us to all children. Now remember, if it's asking for all, right? All, total, the sum of, things like that, those keywords that we've been talking about, that keyword is going to tell us what we're looking for our second ratio, okay? So remember in the previous problem, it told us what the second number was. We were able to underline with 2 lines, right? But this problem's not asking that. It's asking us to find the total or find the total amount of all children. So what we actually have to do is we have to add the 24 and the 8 together, and that's going to give us our second number. Okay, so we take our 24, we do 24 plus 8. Okay, we know that 8 plus 4 is 12. We carry our 1 to the top. 1 plus 2 is 3. So now we know that our second number for the total amount of children is going to be 32. Okay? We'll give you guys another minute. Go ahead and write that down, get that information down, get any questions that you may have with me, okay? Okay. I hope this video helped. If it didn't help or maybe sparked a question that might help you in the future, I hope that you can reach out to me and let me know so that I can answer your question and give you a little bit more information so this makes a little more sense. Okay? For today's lesson, we are not going to worry about reducing our ratio. That will be another lesson that we will eventually get into. But for now, I want you guys to just focus on the importance of pulling that key information out of word problems so we can understand what the word problem is asking us with our ratios, okay? Thank you guys, and I hope you all have a great day.